Hello and a very good morning, a very good evening, or a very good afternoon based on the time in which you'll be watching this video. Due to some technical problems and errors, I was unable to record this video lecture in this way I usually do, but then I hope by the next time or by the time the next video lecture comes, all the problems will be sorted out. So I am also hoping that every one of you is doing well. I know that teaching this online way does not or is not same as teaching in the classroom. The way you all interact with me and the other teachers, the way you all ask questions, the way you all ask your doubts, the way you all speak your mind, those things are the things which I am missing right now. I hope that you all are also missing the school life and the everyday usual life, but then let us hope that everything comes back to normal, or at least somewhat close to the normal which we were used to before the lockdown and before the coronavirus came. So let us hope that everything comes back more or less the same way, and we are able to fight back this virus and the other problems which we are facing and which we may have to face in the coming times in a united manner and in a very strong way. So before moving forward, I just wanted to give a recap, or just let us just see what we were doing in the last lecture. We were just talking about the Lok Sabha, its composition. But while we were talking of the Lok Sabha and its composition, we have to keep in mind a very important person or a very important feature of the Lok Sabha, that is the chairman of the Lok Sabha. The chairman of the Lok Sabha is similar to the class monitor or similar to the class teacher. The chairman of the Lok Sabha, if we are talking of a Lok Sabha or we are talking of a place, or we are talking of a discussion, or we are talking of a association of people where there are nearly 545 people. So 545 people belonging to different linguistic backgrounds, belonging to different places, belonging to different states, belonging to different parties, having different ideologies and thinking. So controlling so many people or so many people without any type of control would have been a mess. So we actually need a person so as to control the happenings or control the proceedings of the house. So the speaker of the Lok Sabha is the presiding officer of the Lok Sabha. It is the speaker who maintains the discipline, decorum, and he looks after the day-to-day functioning of the Lok Sabha. When we talk of the speaker, the first thing which we can see over here, since the Indian system of government follows the Westminster Model. Now, Westminster Model, this is actually the British system of government or the parliamentary system. So the Westminster Model or the parliamentary system is what we are following. The reason behind this is that because we inherited most of our government structure from the Britishers because of the 1935 the 1935 Act. That act, it is from that act that we have inherited most of the provisions which are there laid down in the constitution regarding the management and the running of the country. So that act, the Government of India Act 1935, had laid stress on the parliamentary system of the government, and thus we have the parliamentary system of government which is followed in the United Kingdom or the British states or in England. That parliamentary system of government is the system of government in which there is a ceremonial head. Over there in England, the ceremonial head is the Queen right now. Over here in our country, the ceremonial head is the President of India. And after that, there is the executive is led by the Prime Minister, and the executive is controlled and aided by the Parliament. Coming to the other system of government, that is the presidential form of government followed in many other countries, like most importantly the United States. Over there we find that there's no prime minister as such. Over there the executive is controlled or the executive is led by the president. and there is division of power between, or there is a complete division between the executive and the legislature. But in our country, the executive is a part of the legislature. As I was telling in the previous lecture, the executive, the Prime Minister and his cabinet are part and parcel of the legislature or of the parliament. So over here we follow the Westminster system of government, or the parliamentary system of government. Now what is the role of the speaker? The parliamentary, since the Indian system of government follows the Westminster Model, the parliamentary proceedings of the country are headed by the presiding officer, who is called a speaker. So the parliamentary proceedings, the proceedings of the Lok Sabha, is the presiding officer, or the proceedings of the Lok Sabha is looked after by, or is presided over by the speaker. In other words, the speaker of the two houses of the parliament is responsible for ensuring the smooth functioning of the house. Now, it is said over here, or over here it is mentioned, the speaker of the two houses of the parliament, but we do not call both the executives, or we do not call the presiding officer of both the houses as the speaker. It is we refer to the speaker only as the only to the presiding officer of the Lok Sabha, and for the Rajya Sabha it is called the chairman, and the chairman is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha is the Vice President of India. That's the norm. So we'll come to that later. Now, in other words, the speaker of the houses, of the two houses of the parliament, is responsible for ensuring the smooth functioning of the house. So over here, what it actually means is that it is up to the speaker so as to see to it and so as to regulate and manage the parliamentary proceedings. The Lok Sabha, the lower house of the people in India, which is the highest legislative body in the country, chooses its speaker, who presides over the day-to-day functioning of the house. In the Rajya Sabha, the role of the speaker is carried out by the Vice President of the country. His role is similar to that of the Lok Sabha speaker, although the nomenclature is varied. Nomenclature means the naming, so as I said, it is only the name that differs, more or less the functions are the same. The speaker plays the crucial role of ensuring that the parliament carries forward its role of legislation peacefully, maintaining harmony in the House of Parliament and taking crucial procedural decisions of the House. Well, if we actually talk of the importance of the speaker, it is that the parliament, when we talk of the parliament represents all of the country, because the representatives of all the constituencies of all the states of the entire nation are there sitting in the parliament and discussing and legislating over so many different policies, and also making policies for all of us. So it actually reflects the entire country and the country's culture and the country's tradition, and it is a benchmark for the entire country. So if there hadn't been a presiding officer, or if there isn't any presiding officer in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha, at times what may happen is that difference of opinions may cause some unruly scenes, although those unruly scenes and at times a few quarrels inside the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha are common, but imagine what would have happened if there would have been no one to control it. That is why the role of the speaker is particularly important in a country where there is a parliamentary system, because it is its parliament which actually represents the entire nation. That is why the role of the speaker is very, very important in our country, and also in places where there is the parliamentary system or where there are parliaments. It is actually there so as to control the people and so as to see that the legislations are carried on peacefully, whatever the business of the house is carried on peacefully and without damaging the reputation or the image of the nation. The speaker is thus in every sense considered the true guardian of the Indian parliamentary democracy, holding the complete authority of the Lok Sabha. It is the speaker who is not the president, not the vice president, but it is the speaker himself or herself who is the absolute head of the Lok Sabha. It is his house. That is why everything in the Lok Sabha, you all must at times switch on Lok Sabha TV and watch the proceedings of the Lok Sabha, you'll find that it is all the discussions, everything, whatever any member says, be it the Prime Minister, be it any other minister, be it any other important politician, whatever they say, everything is addressed to the speaker, and no one can talk in a rude way or in a bad way to the speaker. It is the speaker who is respected in the Lok Sabha, and his word is final in the Lok Sabha. Now, what are the powers of the speaker? According to the Constitution of India, speaker is vested with immense administrative and discretionary powers, some of which are enumerated below. You'll find it in your book also. There are many powers and functions of the speaker given under different headings. It may be given as regulatory functions, disciplinary functions, administrative functions. So we will be covering all of them. Now the first one is given as the speaker presides over the meeting of the house. In other words, the business in the house is conducted by the speaker, ensuring discipline and decorum amongst its members. He or she guards the rights and privileges of the members of the two houses, deciding who should speak at what time, the questions to be asked, the order of proceedings to be followed, among others. So as you can see over here, these are the regulatory functions of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha is there so as to regulate the functioning of the House, so as to see how the House is functioning. And you may have seen that the different members of the House or different members of the Lok Sabha, they stand up to tell something. It is the Speaker. The Speaker has to be informed in advance whatever anyone wants to say. So it is the Speaker who gives everyone the chances. It is the Speaker who gives everyone turn to speak. It is the Speaker who allows or it is the Speaker who decides when questions should be asked, who should speak at what time, and the proceedings, the way the House will be functioning. It is all up to the Speaker to decide that. Next, a Speaker uses his or her power of vote in order to resolve a deadlock. Something has to be kept in mind, that in a parliamentary democracy, most of the regulations, or not most of the regulations, all the regulations and all the legislations which are passed, or all the bills and acts which are passed in the parliament, every one of them has to be passed by majority. Why is it so particularly important? It is particularly important because the majority reflects the will of the nation. When the majority is not reached for any act or any bill, so what does it mean? It means that the people of the nation do not want it. How? Because it is actually we the people who are being indirectly represented, or who are indirectly represented in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha through our members. So those people who we have elected to represent us in the Lok Sabha, they are over there so as to speak for us, on behalf of us. So if there is no majority reached in the case of voting for a particular legislation, it means that it is not according to the will of the nation, or the people of the nation do not want that regulation to be reached. That is why over there, for most of the decisions to be taken, or for most of the legislations which are passed in the Lok Sabha, absolute majority or simple majority times is needed. But at times it may so happen that while voting, at times there may be a tie, or there may be a 50-50 situation in which equal number of people are against, or equal number of members of the Lok Sabha are against it, and equal number of members are for it. So it is up to the Speaker to decide his casting vote. Casting vote over here means that he does not vote in other times, in normal times. In normal times, when we have to keep in mind that the Speaker is a member of the Lok Sabha, but the Speaker does not vote when there is voting for different legislations or for different other proceedings of the House. It is because it is the Speaker who has to act impartial. You may have seen that when there is a monitors or the counselors selection going on in the class, the class teacher does not vote, even though the class teacher is a part of that class, because the class teacher does not vote, because so as to be impartial. But in case there is a tie, and in case no other option is, or in case there are no other ways to come out of that tie, what happens then? It is then that the class teacher may give a casting vote or a final vote, which will be breaking the tie. That is the role of the Speaker over here. The Speaker does not vote in normal times so as to be impartial. But if there is a tie, or if there is a deadlock, it is then the Speaker uses his or her vote so as to break that deadlock. He does not cast in the first instance. However, when the two sides receive equal number of votes, the Speaker's vote is used to resolve the deadlock, making his position as impartial in the English system of democracy. Not only in the English system of democracy, but also in the Indian system of democracy, he has to be partial. Next, we have, in the absence of quorum of the House. In the last lecture I told what is the quorum. It is the minimum number of members who are required to be present so as to allow for the business or for the transactions of the House to take place. So it is the duty of the Speaker to adjourn the House or to suspend any meeting until the quorum is met. While I was telling in the previous lecture, what happens is that as people, or as the members of the Lok Sabha, they meet for the, or they assemble in the, as the members of the Lok Sabha assemble in the Lok Sabha, what happens is the speaker calls for a quorum or for the attendance. And when it is seen that 1/10 of members are not present, or the number of members is 1/10 or less, then the speaker may ask for the members or ask the members to reassemble after some time. You have to keep in mind that the Lok Sabha or the parliament does not only have two rooms, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The parliament is a huge building block, and over the at times it may so happen that the members may be here and there, and so the speaker allows for another maybe after 1 hour or half an hour, the speaker again calls for a quorum. If again the number of members have not reached, or if the quorum is not reached, then the speaker may adjourn the house for that, or adjourn the house for that day. Next, the speaker decides the agenda that must be discussed in meeting of the members of the parliament. So an agenda is set. It does not mean that every day, or it is not that every day the members would be coming to the Lok Sabha and they'll be starting to discuss on anything and whatever they want to discuss. It isn't that. The speaker sets the agenda of the house, or what business or what is that the parliament or the parliamentarians or the members of the Lok Sabha will be discussing upon that day. That is the role, one very important role of the speaker. So he sets the agenda, or he sets the discussions of the house into motion. So it is he who decides what is to be discussed that day. Next, this speaker is invested with immense power of interpreting the rules of procedure. The rules of procedure are nothing but the rules according to which the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha is governed. So the rules of as you have seen in the school, we have the diary according to which the school is governed. Similarly, the functioning of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is also governed by the rule book. It is called the rules of procedure, and that is, since he or she is the member of the house as well as the presiding officer at the same time, he ensures the discipline of the house according to the rules of procedure. It is he, or it is the speaker, who sees whether the rules are being followed, and if in some cases the rules are being broken. The speaker ensures that MPs or the member of parliaments are punished for unruly behavior. Over here, punishment does not mean just going outside the class. Punishment means at times the parliamentarian may be suspended for some time, or the parliamentarian may be asked to apologize. So those are the things which a speaker may ask a member of parliament to do. A speaker can also disqualify a member of parliament from the house on grounds of defection. What is defection? It will be covered separately. Defection and the single transferable vote, that will be covered separately in a different lecture. But for now, the speaker can also disqualify a member of parliament from the house on grounds of defection. It is the power of a speaker to permit the various parliamentary procedures, such as motion of adjournment, motion of no confidence, motion of censure, amongst others. What it actually means is that it is up to the speaker. It is not that anyone can. What are motions, what are bills, what are acts, we'll be coming to them later. But over here, motions are nothing but when a parliamentarian or when a member of parliament wants something to be discussed, or some agenda or some business to be taken up by the entire house, it is he or she who raises a motion, and that motion, let me just explain. Raising a motion means, if suppose some agenda was already being discussed in the house or in the parliament, but if some important thing comes up, then some other member of the parliament or of the Lok Sabha may ask the speaker, or may raise a motion for debating or for discussing on something else which has come up or which may have come up during that time. So the speaker may allow such motions. Such motions may be motions of adjournment, motion of no confidence, motions of censure. We will be discussing about these later separately. So it is up to the speaker to admit or to permit such various parliamentary procedures. Next, at times the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha have to sit together so as to resolve a deadlock on passing the bills. What actually happens is that when a bill is originated, we'll be coming to it later, but let me just explain in short over here. When a bill originates in any of the two houses, so as a bill originates, suppose a bill originates in the Rajya Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha, after discussing the bill, the members of the Rajya Sabha discuss the bill, they debate on it, and they vote on that bill. If the members of the Rajya Sabha by majority get the bill passed in the Rajya Sabha, the bill then moves on to the Lok Sabha. After the bill moves to the Lok Sabha, the members of the Lok Sabha will be reading the bill, will be going into the details of the bill, and they will be discussing, debating upon the bill, and after that there will be a voting on that bill. If suppose the Lok Sabha does not allow the bill to get passed, then or they may send the bill back to the Rajya Sabha for reconsideration. Then again the Rajya Sabha sends it back to the Lok Sabha, and there is a deadlock of sorts that the Lok Sabha is not passing the bill which the Rajya Sabha is getting. Then there may be a joint session of the two houses. When there is a joint session, this joint session of the members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha is presided by the presiding officer of this joint session is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, not the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. This is very important to be kept in mind, that whenever there is a joint session of both the houses, or when the two houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, are together for any session, this meeting is presided over by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Now there is something, or at times there is a contention whether a bill which is being raised in the House is a money bill or not. So it is up to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha to decide whether a bill which has been raised in the Lok Sabha is a money bill or not. What is a money bill and those other things will be covered later, but it is to be kept in mind that money bill can only originate in the Lok Sabha. And whether a bill is a money bill or a financial bill, it is to be kept in mind that financial bill is an ordinary bill which can originate in both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So a money bill is such, or a money bill can only originate in the Lok Sabha. It is up to the Speaker to give his or her certificate or his certification whether a bill is a money bill or not. So this decision is considered final, and all procedures henceforth must be carried on accordingly. Those procedures related to the money bill and ordinary bill will be discussed later. The Speaker has under his or her jurisdiction a number of parliamentary committees such as the Rules Committee, the Business Advisory Committee and the General Purposes Committee. What it actually means over here is that there are a few parliamentary committees, there are a few permanent standing committees and a few ad hoc committees. So standing committees are those committees of the parliament which are always there throughout functioning even when a parliament is not in session. So those committees are there so as to look after the different functionings of the parliament, and also to look after different regions of legislature. So those parliamentary committees, a few of those parliamentary committees, the Speaker is a part and also the chairman of such committees. Those committees are the Rules Committee, the Business Advisory Committee and the General Purposes Committee. The Business Advisory Committee over here means that the business of the House, so those businesses, how they are being carried on and the advice. So the Business Advisory Committee is not some other business as in economic or commercial business. Over here Business Advisory means the business or the different other procedures which are happening in the House. Those business is advised on by the Business Advisory Committee and the General Purposes Committee. The Speaker nominates the various chairmen of these committees as well as looks into the procedural hindrances of the working of these committees, if any. So it is he or she who will be nominating the chairman and will also look into the working of these committees. Besides heading the Lok Sabha, the Speaker is also the ex officio president of the Indian Parliamentary Group, the IPGs. He or she also the Indian Parliamentary Group. So at times there are different parliamentary delegations, or the members of the parliament, they go to different other countries so as to take part in the procedures or so as to take part in the parliamentary proceedings of different other nations. So it is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha who is the ex officio president. Ex officio means that it is due to the position of the Speaker that he or she is the chairman of that Indian Parliamentary Committee. He also acts in the capacity of chairman of the Conference of Presiding Officers of Legislative Bodies of India. What it means is that the different other states or the different states of India, they also have their own legislatures. So we have the Vidhan Sabhas, the Vidhan Parishads, they also have their own speakers. So those speakers, there's an association over here, and the conference, the chairman of the conference of presiding officers. So when all the presiding officers are meeting together so as to decide on something, or there's a conference of all the presiding officers or all the speakers and the of the different various states and also the parliament, all of them are conferring together, or there is a conference. It is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha who is the chairman of this conference. As part of the Speaker's administrative role, he or she is also the head of the Lok Sabha Secretariat, maintaining absolute security surveillance in the parliament. So the Lok Sabha Secretariat, what it means is that the Lok Sabha also maintains a secretariat, or the secretaries and the other different officials and officers of the Lok Sabha. So it is the Speaker who is the head of that Lok Sabha Secretariat and is also maintaining the security and other such things related to the parliament. Now, what is the selection process or the election process of the Speaker? The election process of the Speaker is also a part of the House or the part of the Lok Sabha. You have to keep in mind that after every fresh Lok Sabha election, or when a new Lok Sabha session starts, or after the new general election, the Speaker changes. And before what happens is, suppose we are having this right now is the 17th Lok Sabha, which is in session after the general elections of 2019. We are in the 17th Lok Sabha. The Speaker who was there, or the Speaker of the 16th Lok Sabha, that was Mrs. Sumitra Mahajan. So Ms. Mahajan, when she was the Speaker, so she did not immediately leave office. What happened, or when the 16th Lok Sabha dissolved, she did not immediately leave office. After the election happened, or after the general election of 2019, after the 17th Lok Sabha got elected, it was just before the first session of the first day of the 17th Lok Sabha that Srimati Sumitra Mahajan, she resigned, or she leaves office. It is to be kept in mind that the previous Speaker does not leave his or her office until the new Lok Sabha session starts. The first day of the new Lok Sabha session, the day before that, the older Speaker will be moving out of office, and a Speaker Pro Tem is elected on the first day. Speaker Pro Tem is nothing but a temporary Speaker who is elected so as to keep the decorum in the House, and so as to help in the election process to find the permanent Speaker of the House for that Lok Sabha, or for that entire 5 years duration. What happens is, a Speaker Pro Tem, so it is to be kept in mind, Speaker Pro Tem is a temporary Speaker who is elected that time. Speaker Pro Tem is generally the senior most member of the entire Lok Sabha, or amongst the 545 members who are there in the Lok Sabha. It is actually the convention that the senior most member is made the Speaker Pro Tem. After that, the newer Speaker is elected. This new Speaker is elected from amongst all the or everyone present in the Lok Sabha will be voting for the new Speaker, or for the election of the new Speaker. Now, suppose or as we have seen that the Speaker is one of the most important function, or one of the most important post of the country. The post of the Speaker is at par or similar to that of the Supreme Court's Chief Justice, or the Chief Justice of India, at par with or according to the Constitution. That is the equality, or there is an equation between the Speaker, the post of the Speaker, and that of the Chief Justice of India. So a Speaker has a very important position and also a very responsible position, and it is the Speaker who is actually maintaining, or who is maintaining the democratic institution of the Lok Sabha in the country. So a Speaker should be a person, or in the election of the Speaker, it does not look good, or it won't be reflecting properly, or it won't be a very good thing. So to find that the Speaker is having opposition, or people who are voting against someone and for someone. Suppose a person A stands for the election of the speaker, and there are out of 545 members, 300 are voting for that person A, and 245 are voting against that person. What it actually means is that not everyone in the house has the confidence on that person so as to maintain the decorum of the house or so as to regulate the house. That is why before the election of the speaker, it is generally the convention that the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha, or the party which has formed the government in the Lok Sabha, the leader of that majority party in the Lok Sabha, he or she will be having a informal discussion with the other leaders or with the leaders of the other parties and also of the opposition parties, and together they come to a consensus, or together they decide upon a candidate, favorable candidate, who will be respected and loved and admired and listened to by all the members of their parties. And after that there is an election which takes place, and most of the time, or nearly all of the time, the election of the speaker is unanimous and unopposed. So no one opposes that. Why? Because the person who was elected to be or the person who stood for the election of the speaker was decided by all the members of the, or by decided by all the leaders of all the parties. That is why the leader of that is why the speaker is more or less elected unopposed. The speaker is one of the, reading this part which is given, the speaker is one of the members of the Lok Sabha. On the very first meeting of a newly constituted Lok Sabha, the speaker is elected from amongst the members. So before this new speaker is elected, it is the speaker Pro Tem who looks after the functioning of the house before the new speaker is elected. The process of election is a simple majority of the members present and voting. Usually the ruling party or the ruling alliance chooses one of its members to be elected as the speaker after consultation with leaders of other political parties. The Prime Minister announces the name of the person to be elected, and the political parties conduct a simple voting process. Now that is why the speaker is elected in such a way, so as to, because that speaker will be running, or the speaker who is elected will be running the house for 5 years. That is why such a person has to be elected who will be listened to, who will be respected, admired by all of the people. The duty term, or what is the term of the speaker? The term of the speaker is same as the term of the house. The term of the house is 5 years in general, but at times the house term or the term of the Lok Sabha may be extended due to some reason, or due to some national emergency, or that extension can happen only 1 year at a time, or at times the term of the house may be decreased because of the government falling, or because of the no confidence motion in the government. And if such a motion is passed, the government has to resign. And once the house once the Lok Sabha is dissolved, the speaker of the Lok Sabha is also, or ceases to be, the term of the speaker also ends then, or the just before the new Lok Sabha is elected, the term of the speaker will be up till that time. However, the speaker can be re-elected to the post. So there can be re-elections to the post of the speaker. The speaker's office may, however, terminate earlier than the expiry of the house due to the following reasons. So, as I said, the speaker's term is same as that of the term of the house, but at times the speaker's term may be lesser than that of the house. Such cases are when the speaker ceases to be a member of the house. If the speaker is no more a member of the house, then the speaker's term will be reduced automatically. When the speaker resigns by writing to the deputy speaker, so when the speaker has to resign, we have to keep in mind those people, or to whom the person addresses while they are resigning. So the speaker addresses to resigns by writing to the deputy speaker. And when the speaker is removed from the office by resolution, which is passed by a majority of all the members of the house. While such a process is underway, the speaker cannot preside over the house, but can take part in the proceedings of the house. So if the members of the Lok Sabha are somehow agreed that the present speaker is not up to the expectations, or there are some problems related to the functioning of the house, then they may, with a simple majority of all, that is the majority of all the members of the house, can remove the speaker. And while such a discussion, or while such a voting is taking place, it is true that the speaker cannot be the uh, cannot be chairing or cannot be the chairman of the house or cannot be looking after the house, because that may not be that may breach impartiality. That is why another person will be looking after the matters of the house while that voting is taking place. So these are the times when uh, the speaker's office can terminate before the termination or before the expiry of the house. So I guess for today this will be, or for this lecture will be, we have covered the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and the different functions and the elections and the term of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. By the next class, I guess we'll be doing the Rajya Sabha and a few other things. I hope that this time, or meanwhile, in the meanwhile, you all will be using your time productively, and also please stay safe, be safe, keep everyone around you safe, stay happy, and please do not panic. Thank you.